Welcome to Greenable Woodbridge. I'm your host, Carolyn Ehrlich. Today we have with us Nancy Quirk, who is the Program Coordinator for Advanced Infrastructure for Sustainable Jersey. And she is going to talk to us about a phenomenal pilot that we're about to enter into. That's, if the rest of the residents and the watchers are anything like I am, and you want to get solar panels, you're like totally, oh my God, what is going on? What do we do? Navigating the world to solar panels is so confusing that you go, I'll just stick with what I have. And that's what this program is going to fix. But I'm not going to say any more, or Nancy won't have anything to say. So first, tell us about Sustainable Jersey.
Sure. Sustainable Jersey is a nonprofit organization that's set up to help local governments and schools now work through different activities that will make them more sustainable. So it could be everything from a school or community garden to complete streets to recycling and all range of energy-related activities to reduce your energy use. So it makes the community healthier, more economically vibrant, and certainly more sustainable. We have a series of actions is what we call them, but they're backed up with research on the best practices. And so what we hand to the municipalities is a set of ideas and strategies on how to accomplish these goals. And as you probably well know, and most of your viewers know, that we give points when you achieve certain goals. And so the program's set up to have sort of silver and bronze categories of awards for reaching certain points. And again, we're introducing gold, which is very closely related.
That's a whole other show. That's a scary show as far as I'm concerned.
But I think our solar program is actually going to help people get there.
Yes, and I think most of our regular viewers know about Sustainable Jersey and how excited we are to be a part of it, and also how proud we are to be the champions. But it means a lot more because what we have learned, and what you mentioned, the best practices in how to get our town from here to there as far as sustainability, is just invaluable. And even if we weren't the champion, it's still like a phenomenal, great program. So, and now you bring to us a whole nother world of solar for residential, and a sustainable challenge actually in the solar panels. So please explain what that is.
Well, there's a number of places to start, but let's start with the Sustainable Jersey paradigm, if you will. It's set up as a challenge because our communities love getting those points and kind of, seeing who can get to certain categories. So we're asking different communities around the state, or communities have applied to join in the challenge, and we're going to try and drive communities to set up an outreach and marketing program that will reach their residents and businesses in order to drive up the number of solar installations. And so we've set the challenge as an 8-month program. So we've put some time frames around it so that you can tell your residents they need to sign up in this time frame, because exactly as you said, it's easy for a resident to know all about solar and to be very excited about it, but to say, maybe not now. So having that time frame with 8 months to say, okay, if you sign 8 months.
8 months, okay.
For the whole challenge.
Okay, great.
If you sign a contract within that, your town will get, so to speak, credit, and we can compare you with the other towns in the challenge and see who got the most % of their residents to sign a contract to install solar. So that's the challenge aspect in true Sustainable Jersey style.
Yes, absolutely. And so you're going to have a couple of towns at first competing to see which town can sign up the most homes for solar panels.
Exactly.
And we have a young gentleman who's with us in the mayor's office, Tom Flynn, who has been working with John Haggerty to get a really great outreach program out so that our residents understand what all this is about. And that's the most important part.
It is. It's one of the benefits of doing it with the municipality, because you're the trusted messenger, and you'll be telling the municipality that, and we can jump into the Energy Sage website, because we're partnering with Energy Sage, which was developed with funding from the Department of Energy to set up a web-based interface, not unlike Kayak or Expedia, where you can go, get the information, compare information, make some decisions, sit back and think about it. But you're the trusted messenger that invites your residents and businesses to take advantage of the educational materials and the opportunity to interact with installers via this web-based platform.
It's fantastic. I've had the opportunity to go on it, and once we have it active, I think we're really going to see a lot more people get solar panels, because I know for me, what stopped me is, first of all, you're not sure if your house is right. You know, you have people coming to sell you solar panels. You don't know if you can trust them. I mean, there are all kinds of issues. What are some of the other issues that having this website is going to solve?
Well, you're right. I mean, people don't need to have a sense if their roof is good for solar. You might have a lot of trees, or you might have different angles in your roof and so forth. And so when you get on the website, the first thing the website does is use the back end technology to get a look at your roof and say, yep, this one looks great for solar, or this one looks good for some solar but not a big installation. And then your information would be entered into the website, and you can provide your regular estimate of your utility bills, so they can have a sense, okay, this is this house, how much energy do you usually use, what's going to be the best size for it. And then there's a back end that allows your information to be seen by installers who have been vetted by Energy Sage, and we can talk about that more in a minute. But those installers can then send you proposals for your home. And in those proposals, you'll get a sense of what kind of equipment they're going to use, different financing options they may have for you.
Let's stay on that for a minute.
Sure enough.
There are different types of financing, and that's one of the things I think that scares people, and so what this does, if you want to have very low electric bills, or you want, if you want to pay nothing up front or a little up front, so they explain that a little bit.
Well, you'll get a series of bids from installers who are interested in your property. It looks good for them, in their business model. And then just nationwide, there are a number of ways to purchase solar. So if you could pay cash up front, and so you immediately start benefiting from that, because then your electric bill is going down. It doesn't usually go down to zero, to be clear, but your electric bill will go down immediately. So if that cash up front is possible, which may not be for a lot of people.
Right. Do they tell you how long the payback is?
They generally do. So if you can lease the system, or you could take out a loan for that system. And some banks around the country are offering a zero down loan, so that there's really nothing up front for you, and you start saving immediately. And that payback is going to stretch out a little differently. What's interesting about the zero down loan, some banks offer that because you also, as the homeowner, get a tax credit for your solar installation. And what the bank will do is kind of give you that window of time, and so when that tax rebate or credit comes into you, then you kind of pay, so that zero down is kind of a bridge loan, if you will, based on the estimated tax credit you would get. It doesn't have to be. Banks can vary in what they offer for financing. And solar companies can vary in terms of whether or not they want to basically lease your rooftop and put the panels on it and sell you the power.
Right.
I mean, that's, no money down.
That's what my neighbor across the street does. So explain that a little bit more.
Well, there's no money down, and basically you have made an agreement with the installer that, whatever energy is produced by that system will come to you, and it will be basically deducted from your energy bill. But at the end of the day, the installer or the company that installed the panels owns them. Usually there's a buyout at the end of a 20-year lease. Where you can purchase those panels if you want. And just having said that, I mean, it's good to know that panels these days, first of all, have gotten much less expensive, but also they're generally warranted for at least 20 years. I mean, this is no moving parts kind of technology, if you will. So it's unlikely that there's anything there that needs to be replaced.
That's very good to know. And how about vetting the companies? How do you know that these companies are reliable?
Well, actually, we're partnering with the Energy Sage company. Again, that was an incubator, or started up with an incubator grant from the Department of Energy to really help consumers and installers get together and move this process forward. And so what Energy Sage does is ask all the installers to submit their credentials. So basically, are they licensed? And there's a national certification for the technical aspects of solar installation called NABCEP. And that's nationally recognized. And so they will require NABCEP certification for the installer. They basically will make sure there's no complaints against that company, that they have a good reputation. They absolutely have to have been in business for at least 3 years, so there's a track record for them. So Energy Sage is actually taking a big lift in helping to kind of screen those installers. And on the site, there's a place where consumers can comment, on their experience with the installer or the different companies. And so that allows for all of your local installers to get involved in this program, and all of the big national players. We've heard about a lot of big solar companies out there. Everyone's welcome, sort of big tent, if you will. Right. And, your residents will go on and get bids from different solar companies and be able to say, well, I like this bid better, or interact with that installer and make a selection.
That is amazing. It's an amazing program.
It takes advantage of just some mind-bending technology.
Right.
And actually, not that I know the whole back end of the site, but the national labs, which is again under the Department of Energy, they have actually designed some of the back end software that helps the system actually calculate how much solar energy your rooftop. And so this, links back, if you will, several layers in to kind of give the installer and the consumer an estimate of how much energy your house can actually produce for you.
I think I get amazed whenever we talk about new technology because, the Bluetooth in my car still has me going crazy. But this is just, when I went on it and, I put my address on and it saw all the trees in my yard, and they saw the direction it was in. And they said to me, no, my house shouldn't have solar panels on it. But I have had companies come knock on my door saying, I can have solar panels, which is why this, from the get-go, this is such an important thing for residents, because we don't want to see any of our residents have a bad experience, and then they say something to somebody else, and then all of a sudden people are afraid to buy solar panels. So this is a program that gives our residents confidence in the company that they're going to be getting. And then going through the experience, just going through everything you mentioned, there are so many ways to get, purchase a solar panel. So this walks you through it. Gee, what do I want to do? Is my biggest problem my monthly bills? Or, is it something else? And so you figure it out and you get that. But what we haven't touched on is that it's renewable energy and why it's good for the environment. So,
I can, of course, speak to that for quite a bit. But let me pick up on one point you said earlier when you're saying, if there was a bad experience. And that's true. We know from business that, one bad experience travels 10 times and a good experience,
it kind of stays there.
But with solar, what has been found across the country, when you have different community-backed solar outreach programs like this, that the power suggestion, if you will, it's like, my neighbor has solar, Even after the programs close, that installation rate continues to grow. Really? It really does sort of feed on itself when people have those positive experiences and people see solar on houses just like mine.
Right.
So, renewable energy, we could probably go on for quite a bit.
Go ahead. Because that's really what it's all about. We always talk about in Woodbridge about the two greens. The green of saving money and the green of saving the environment. So let's talk about the environment.
Well, obviously, it reduces your greenhouse gases. And so, knowing Woodbridge and knowing that you'll be going for gold, I'm sure, within the near future on the Sustainable Jersey Plan, this is really, you can ratchet down those greenhouse gas emissions relatively quickly, by getting solar out as much as possible. It puts money in people's pockets, and that's a local economic benefit because that can, be spent in local businesses and so forth.
Very
and the
true.
more of
Good
your
point.
local banks get involved, then that sort of lending and so forth is good business, of course, for them, but it also is a community asset to have that money staying and circulating again in the community, not to mention jobs for your local installers.
Right.
And I'm very passionate about, getting young people interested in energy and clean energy overall, and so to the extent that this could be interesting for school students or for vocational tech, workforce development, all of these
Good
can
idea.
feed right into, if we're ramping up business for installers, well, they need what we call boots on the roof.
Yes.
And these are excellent,
Yes.
jobs. And just to kind of broaden the picture, I mean, your solar installation company not only needs those folks who do the actual installation, which is a relatively skilled job with electricity, all the background you need. They need their accountants, they need their marketing people, they need their, legal and so forth. So there are a lot of job creation opportunities when you increase the solar market in your
Right.
community. And, clean air, lower greenhouse gas emissions. I mean, these are just,
They become basic.
Yeah.
It's what we need to be working for every day.
Yeah.
And when our residents can actually make such a huge difference and save money at the same time, there's really
Right.
no reason for them, unless they have too many trees or they're facing in the wrong direction, there's no reason for them not to do it.
Well, let's talk about that for a minute, because that will be the case. We know nationwide that probably half the houses across the nation, and here in New Jersey, it might be as few as 25% are actually really good for solar. But when you have a community campaign reaching out to people about solar and putting up a banner or whatever, a TV show maybe,
Right.
and talking about energy, renewable energy, people are going to be thinking about their energy use. And it could be the neighbor with the big sunny roof going solar, or it could be your house that has too many trees. You're thinking about energy, and maybe you're thinking, I don't like that energy bill. What else can I do?
Right.
It puts you a little bit more in the driver's seat of controlling your energy use. Whether you're watching that dial of your solar panels, and having your kids watch that dial, how much today, or if you're thinking, okay, I can't put solar panels on, but what else can I do? There are just a whole suite of energy efficiency
Right.
programs and rebates out there
Right.
that we definitely, we know that you help your residents know about
I
that.
changed all my light bulbs.
There you go. And some of the least bling-like, if you will, or least exciting things are as simple as insulation.
Right.
And so we can't forget, that there's two sides to this equation, and it might be that the homeowner going solar can say, I can control this, what else can I do?
And once they get started, they want to do more.
That's exactly right.
That is fantastic. So this is a good way for us to get everybody going. I just want to conclude that my goal is to go on GPS when you see everybody's roof in town, and all the ones that are facing in the right direction, all of them have solar panels on them.
Right.
So, I want to thank you for coming today. I want to thank Sustainable Jersey for once again coming up with another phenomenal resource for municipalities and for the people who live here in New Jersey.
You taught him how to hit a baseball, how to hit a receiver. You even taught him how to hit the open man. But how much time have you spent teaching him what not to hit?
Welcome back to Greenable Woodbridge. I'm here now with Tom Flynn, who works in the mayor's office overseeing all of our environmental projects. And what he's going to do for us, being that I'm not that great with the computer, he's going to walk us through the solar system. Solar system, like it's the planets, it's our solar panel system. And if he can get me to understand how to do it, everybody in town can learn. So, Tom, you want to tell us a little bit about what you're doing here in the mayor's office
Sure.
in this program?
Sure, absolutely, Carolyn. So, I am the Environmental Project Coordinator, and I'm pleased to be here to talk about this great program, the Woodbridge Solar Challenge. And, it sounds as cool as it is, and, so we're using an online interface to really get at the heart of these issues. So, I know Nancy Quirk talked a bit about, the importance of the incentives and how confusing it could be, and the bewilderment that a lot of folks feel when they get involved in solar and, what do I do? How do I start? And this is where to start. The online portal is the best place to go ahead and really start examining your options because we partnered with EnergySage, and they've already done all the vetting for us. They know, who the good contractors are, who's doing the great work, and why they're good, and what materials they use, and what makes them, highly qualified to do this work. So we can dive right in and take a look at the site.
I just want to say one thing. In the first part of the show, I said that my house was not right for solar because I'm facing in the wrong direction. I thought I had too many trees. And when we were doing our practice run here, put in my address, and lo and behold, they said, are you willing to trim your trees? And I go, I'll trim, I won't chop. And so I was surprised. So what I would say to everybody is don't make any assumptions.
Sure. Just
go on and see what the professionals tell you.
Certainly.
So let's give it a try. Can you get us onto the site?
Sure. So we are here now on woodbridgesolar.com, and as you can see, it is within the EnergySage portal system. So once folks get on there, they can see that we do have our partner directly linked up with us, so they can not have to worry about clicking too many buttons. They're already there. So right when you get on the homepage, it's going to look a lot like the Woodbridge Township homepage, because you'll see beautiful picture of Seawarren in the background and Woodbridge right here to make you feel nice and homey. So right here, right at the get-go, it just says, let's get started. Let's take a look at what zip codes you're in and, really how to go about navigating whether or not your house might be good for solar. So what we've done, like you said, Carol, before, we already took a look at your home. And by clicking on this Instant Estimate button, we can then go ahead and start typing in those addresses. So it'll bring us right up to a portal, and it actually saved it from earlier,
right?
Which is great. So we don't have to worry about everything. So
you can tell everybody what they're saying I'm going to save.
Right.
I'm pretty excited.
Right. So, if we were to scroll down from the page and just so everyone's clear now, there are different financing options for solar, and EnergySage, really points that out and makes it clear here. So, you could pay cash if you have it, great. If not, and you want to take out a loan or, a PPA lease, and it really shows you here, how to go ahead and think about those different options and what those options mean over time for, your out-of-pocket savings. So they've done a lot of the legwork already, and it's really just, apples to apples comparison and just waiting for those quotes to come in.
Right. And the thing that they don't mention here, but until the end of the year, if you pay for it in cash, there's a federal tax rebate.
Right, absolutely.
So what was that, for a third back?
Right. So
that's significant. And so what they're telling me is if I wanted to buy them straight out, it would cost me $22,000 minus the 1/3 I'd get back from the government if I did it right away. Sure. And then my electric bills would be going down. Where does it say? Does it say?
So it actually shows right here on the graph that over time your net savings would be $63,000, which is incredible. And I just did want to point out too, for those folks that are watching, those percentages federally do go down over time. So it is important that if you're considering this stuff, our program is running through next year, but
right.
This fiscal year those percentages will decrease. So it's just another great incentive to think about.
To do it right. And then the other option that they're talking about here is a loan. And
Sure.
here they're talking about a loan without putting any money down. The overall savings is it's less, but on the other hand, you don't have to take all that money out of pocket. And
Absolutely.
I don't know how many people have that kind of money that
Right.
they can
Sure,
take out
sure.
of their pocket. And then the third option is to do, can you explain what a PPA is, or the lease option?
Sure. So, this is pretty innovative stuff. It's novel, and, solar is still an emerging technology, so there's all these different ways to go about thinking about getting it to people that really want to consider it as an option. And leasing is, kind of like a car. Essentially, you don't own the panels. You could have the option, just like a car at the end, to buy the panels outright. That's worked out differently with each company. But, yeah, it's a fantastic option that a lot of folks don't really know about.
And it really, you still save a lot of money on your electric bill. So it's all that simple. And like I said earlier, we did a test run this morning, and one of the steps, it says, how would you like to find out? And you can find out online. They can call you. They can actually come visit you. And I picked the option of sending me an email. And what did I have, like 8 responses, which within 15 minutes.
Absolutely.
I have not had the time to actually look at them and compare them and everything, but there are people who want to put solar on my roof and save me money, so I'm really excited.
That's great.
And when I get home, I'll take a look at all of them and pick one to do it.
Wonderful.
So I will be the guinea pig. Let everybody know how this works. So I think that's about it. And as you move forward, if you have any questions, you can call Tom at the mayor's office, and he will walk you through it, and he'll be very happy to do that. This is a great program, and I really appreciate, and I'm sure all of the residents of town are going to appreciate all the work that you've put into this. And thank you for watching Greenable Woodbridge and being part of the excitement and part of the change.